Building upon our discussion of multi-housing, condominiums, townhouses, PUDs, and cooperative housing, it is essential for every Arizona real estate professional to understand the critical distinctions between residential and commercial properties. These two categories represent fundamentally different aspects of the real estate industry, each governed by its own laws, contracts, financing mechanisms, and disclosure requirements. Competency in distinguishing between them ensures compliance with the Arizona Department of Real Estate standards and promotes a higher level of professional service for clients engaged in any type of real estate transaction. Residential real estate refers to property used primarily for personal living purposes. This category includes single-family homes, townhouses, condominiums, duplexes, and small multi-housing properties containing up to 4 units. The key characteristic of residential property is that it is intended for human habitation, rather than for generating income through business or commercial activity. Transactions involving residential property are heavily regulated to protect consumers, and licensees must comply with numerous federal and state laws, including the Fair Housing Act, the Arizona Residential Landlord and Tenant Act, and consumer protection statutes under the Arizona Department of Real Estate, ADRE. For example, when assisting a family purchasing a single-family home in Gilbert, an agent must ensure the buyers receive the seller's property disclosure statement, SPDS, the lead-based paint disclosure, for homes built before 1978, and if applicable, HOA documentation. It is always a good idea to check the prelim title report. These disclosures help protect consumers from purchasing properties with hidden defects or regulatory restrictions. Residential transactions also require strict compliance with fair housing laws, ensuring that licensees avoid discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, familial status, disability, or national origin. Residential properties are generally financed through traditional mortgage lending, including FHA, VA, USDA, or conventional loans. These programs are designed to make home ownership more accessible and include specific consumer safeguards, such as the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, RESPA, and Truth in Lending Act, TILA. These protections ensure borrowers are fully informed about their loan terms, costs, and settlement procedures. Commercial real estate, on the other hand, is property used for business purposes or income generation. This category includes office buildings, retail centers, warehouses, industrial properties, hotels, restaurants, and apartment buildings with 5 or more units. The primary distinction lies in the property's purpose. Commercial real estate exists to produce revenue, whether through leasing space to tenants, operating a business, or reselling at a profit. Because these transactions often involve significant financial and legal complexity, they are generally handled by brokers with specialized expertise, and in many cases, higher levels of education and experience. Commercial transactions typically involve longer and more complex contracts, such as triple net leases, NNN, percentage leases, and ground leases, where responsibilities for maintenance, insurance, and taxes are often allocated differently than in residential contracts. For instance, in a triple net lease, a retail tenant may be responsible for property taxes, insurance, and maintenance, in addition to rent. Understanding these financial structures is essential for brokers who wish to operate competently in the commercial market. Unlike residential loans, commercial financing relies on business underwriting standards rather than personal credit qualifications. Lenders evaluate a property's income potential, net operating income, NOI, and capitalization rate, cap rate, to determine loan eligibility. Borrowers may also use commercial lending tools such as Small Business Administration, SBA loans, bridge financing, or portfolio loans offered by banks or private lenders. Because commercial property transactions are less standardized and involve fewer consumer protection laws, buyers and sellers often negotiate terms extensively. making professional negotiation and contract drafting skills critical. For example, consider a broker representing an investor purchasing a 20-unit apartment complex in Mesa. This property qualifies as commercial real estate because it exceeds 4 residential units and is primarily used for income generation. The broker must evaluate the property's rent rolls, vacancy rates, maintenance expenses, and local zoning compliance. The broker would also need to understand 1031 exchanges, which allow investors to defer capital gains taxes when exchanging one investment property for another. Zoning laws also play a major role in distinguishing residential and commercial properties. In Arizona, local jurisdictions establish zoning categories, such as R, residential, and C, commercial, that dictate how land may be used. Selling a commercial property to a buyer intending to use it as a residence without confirming zoning compliance could lead to serious legal issues. Competent licensees must verify zoning designations through the local planning department before representing any transaction. From an ethical and professional standpoint, the Arizona Commissioner's rules emphasize that licensees must act within their field of competence. A residential agent who undertakes a complex commercial transaction without proper experience could be found in violation of the duty of reasonable care and competence under AAC 4-28-1101H. For example, an agent accustomed to residential sales who attempts to draft a commercial lease without understanding its financial implications could expose both themselves and their client to significant liability. In such cases, the agent should refer the client to a broker experienced in commercial real estate or work under supervision until properly trained. Review summary. Residential real estate is primarily used for personal habitation and is heavily regulated for consumer protection, while commercial real estate is used for business or investment purposes and operates under more flexible but complex legal and financial frameworks. Residential transactions emphasize consumer disclosures and loan protections, whereas commercial transactions focus on income analysis, capitalization rates, and negotiated lease structures. A competent licensee understands not only these distinctions, but also when to seek additional expertise before representing clients outside their area of specialization. Discussion prompts. Why is it important for a licensee to understand the difference between residential and commercial real estate? Answer: because each property type involves distinct laws, financing, and disclosure requirements, and misclassifying a property could lead to legal violations or client harm. What are some common financing differences between residential and commercial real estate? Answer: residential loans rely on personal income and credit qualifications, while commercial loans are based on property income, business credit, and investor strength. When might a residential property become classified as commercial? Answer: when it contains 5 or more units, is used primarily for generating rental income, or is zoned for business use. Closing remarks. Understanding the difference between residential and commercial real estate is one of the most fundamental competencies for Arizona licensees. Each category requires unique knowledge of law, finance, and ethics. Residential real estate focuses on consumer protection and individual ownership, while commercial real estate emphasizes investment performance and business strategy. By mastering these distinctions, agents not only protect themselves from potential disciplinary actions, but also enhance their ability to serve a broader range of clients with confidence and professionalism.